Hi everyone, Tom Wallace from Personal Coverage. Thank you for tuning into this PowerPoint presentation. That's going to be the first one in a series of PowerPoint presentations, specifically for those of you in the food and beverage industry, specifically about insurance, the buying process, as well as product knowledge. I am involved with specialty food and beverage clients in different parts of the country. You can check us out at either personalcoverage.com or specialtyfoodbeverage.com. So my PowerPoint presentations are going to be about things that I see when I actually deal with clients and anticipating some of the questions that maybe that you have because they have had them. So this is for entities that currently have insurance. If you are thinking about starting a food and beverage company and insurance has now come up on your checklist, hopefully you will find these useful. So what can you expect in the insurance buying process? Just a few overview items, things for you to have prepared as you go through the process. Also an understanding of the insurance marketplaces that are out there. Just a very general overview of some product types available for food and beverage companies. And then some tips on things that you want to be careful of or look for when you are actually choosing a provider for your insurance. Company facts, current situation, most of this will seem pretty straightforward to you, pretty obvious. Certainly your corporate information you're going to want to have on hand, what type of entity you are, your mailing address, and you may find that your location address is different than your mailing address. So if you have a co-packer, that might be your location address, so you're going to want to know that ahead of time. Uh, Product and the type of product seems to be where the underwriting is actually focused, I find, by the insurance carriers. And so what your finished product is, the ingredients that are in it, the labels are a very key part of underwriting. So having PDFs or JPEG files of your labels is very, very helpful. And also, do you directly import any of your ingredients? Not that you use imported ingredients, but are you the importer of that ingredient? Also can be very important. Your production model, where are you making your product? Commercial kitchen, are you renting space? Do you use a co-packer? Are you in some type of incubator kitchen? Also your packaging, are you doing it? Is a third party doing it? And again, importing, if you're importing a finished product, that's going to be a different marketplace that I'm going to talk to you about in just a moment. And then where are you actually marketing your product? Is it US based? Are you going to be selling it all over the world? And how are you going to be doing it? Are you going to be directly selling the product yourself? Are you going to act as a wholesale person? Are you going to do it on the internet? And having multiple ways of distributing the product is certainly fine, but it is just part of the underwriting process. Okay, there are essentially two kinds of insurance markets. That as you're buying insurance, you just want to be comfortable with both of these from a general standpoint, and mostly as to where you fit, obviously, into the insurance marketplace, because it will have some bearing on where you actually go looking for insurance. So the first market I'm going to call the standard lines market, characterized by a lot of name brand carriers. Your state insurance department has been very involved with them in terms of approvals, both in the rates that they charge, the insurance forms that they use. And these carriers will also have some type of backstop behind them, provided by your state, that if they were financially unable to pay their claims, that there'll be some degree of safety net behind them. On the surplus lines market, there's less regulation. This marketplace will not have those guarantee or safety net type funds behind them. They also will tend to insure higher hazard risks. The minimum premiums tend to be a little bit higher. The forms are different. The fees and taxes that are charged there are different than on the standard lines marketplace. But this side of the market is very necessary because not all businesses in the food and beverage field can actually find insurance from standard carriers. So the surplus lines carriers step in and fill that void. Now, on both sides, whether it be standard or surplus lines, you're going to find some very reputable carriers, very financially sound. That just the marketplaces operate differently and serve different types of businesses. So in this grid here, I gave you just a very brief sort of overview of types of products that the surplus lines side of the marketplace will tend to handle very easily. Your importers, if you're directly importing an ingredient, a finished product from another country, you're going to tend to find surplus lines carriers have no problem with that, where your standard lines carriers may very well have a problem with that. Dietary supplements, energy drinks, coastal locations, for property insurance at least, could all be surplus lines placements. Standard market carriers either won't be available or might be much more sporadic. Alcoholic beverages, I find wine and beer as a lot of standard options. Craft distilleries, a little bit less so as that market continues to develop, but certainly surplus lines is available for all of that. But certainly standard carriers are available for all of those as well. So again, the key thing is that when you're buying insurance, you want to have at least some idea where you fall in the marketplace. Standard carriers, more routine, are going to be things like coffee and tea and juices and bottled waters, baked goods, candy, snack foods of all types, sauces, salsas, just a number of different products that can end up in the standard market, and there's lots of options for that. If you are going to be working with a product that you know is going to be more of a surplus lines placement, then you may just want to spend a little bit more time researching the types of entities you're going to use to actually place your insurance, because you may find that if you just call routinely any agency and you are a energy drink provider, you might find that the knowledge base there is not quite what you need in order to properly place your insurance, as an example. So keep that in mind as you go into the marketplace. Have an idea where you might fall. Okay, product overview, just some very basic knowledge on some of the products that food and beverage businesses tend to purchase. First off is commercial general liability, very important product. Regardless of your size, commercial general liability will be either the only insurance product that you have, or will certainly be part of it for your more mature organizations. Commercial general liability, $1 million seems to be the base limit that you find in the marketplace today. 1 million per occurrence, $2 million per aggregate, which means $2 million paid out throughout one policy period. If greater limits are needed, depending on the type of policy that you're buying, you can either increase the limits on your policy to a higher number, or you may have to buy something called a commercial general liability umbrella type policy or excess policy that will go over the top of your commercial general liability policy. So for example, you might have a commercial general liability policy for $1 million and then a commercial umbrella liability policy for $2 million, which would give you a total of $3 million per occurrence, and then some relevant aggregate number. Other types of insurance that do come up, property coverage, which is essentially split into two separate sections. One being direct damage, so that means to your labels, your ingredients, your packaging, your finished product that's damaged due to a covered peril. You are then paid by your insurance for the damage to your actual product. The other is more indirect, and that would be a loss of business income or extra expenses that your business incurs because now you've suffered a direct loss to your particular organization. So it could be to the property that you insured, could be to a building that you insured. What do you do if you can't operate? So property insurance, again, has a direct and has more of an indirect or business income extra expense type of component. Auto insurance. Personal auto insurance, especially for smaller operations, certainly has its place if you're using your vehicle in business. If your business buys a vehicle, for whatever purpose it happens to be, then commercial automobile insurance is going to be something that you're going to want to look into. Employee type coverages, workers' compensation, on the job injuries could be mandated by your state. Disability insurance or off the job injuries is mandated in some states that employers carry this coverage for their employees. And then some other coverages that come up, product recall insurance is very little coverage, if any, in commercial general liability in very narrow circumstances. So product recall insurance could be something that you might want to think about in terms of a standalone product, or perhaps some type of an endorsement or rider that's attached to an existing policy. Cyber coverages or internet-based coverages, data breaches, things of that nature. There's coverage out there for that type of stuff, as well as life insurance for either key people or for owners of the organization. How to choose your insurance provider. Certainly a very personal thing. You're going to have your own benchmark for what it is you like, what it is you don't like. Uh, My list here is going to be just certain things that I have seen in dealing with food and beverage clients in different parts of the country. Budget quotes can be very useful to the new operators. Is the agent or broker helping you out with that? Uh, how long did it take? These transactions don't take forever, but depending on whether you're in the standard market or surplus lines market, budget your time accordingly. Is the premium reasonable? Obviously. Was it presented to you? Do you have actually an idea of the coverage limits? Uh, are there other products that you can purchase from that particular provider? One of the key things is does the product that you're purchasing, especially your general liability, meet the specs in an agreement you're about to sign or have already signed? It's very important to review those, or to at least work with your insurance provider, who is not going to necessarily give you legal advice, but at least can look at the insurance specs and be sure that the policy is as compliant as it possibly can be. Uh, is it customizable? Is your product one where you can plug in property insurance if you just bought commercial general liability insurance? Can you buy the umbrella? Can you buy auto insurance? Or are you going to have to look for another provider to provide some of these other products for you? Certificates of insurance, very important. Okay, how long they take to turn around? Are they done accurately? And then at the end of the day, it is your money, and you just have to be comfortable with your experience. The experience you have while you're buying the product is likely going to be an experience you have when you actually need service on your particular product as well. Well, thank you for taking the time to go through this PowerPoint presentation. I hope that you found it useful. Please check back. There will be more of these that will hopefully be short and sweet and give you some good, useful information in evaluating your own insurance, or information that you could use as you are purchasing insurance, either trying to replace a current policy or you are a new business. If you have any questions about insurance, please feel free to contact me. Toll-free numbers here on the slide will come right to my phone. And certainly you can email me directly, or go to either one of the websites, and there is an info or service email address. You're certainly welcome to use that as well. So again, thank you for tuning in, and hopefully you found this useful, and check back again for future PowerPoint presentations to shed some light on the insurance buying process. Thank you.